Hello everyone, welcome to This Week in Art. My name is jhonsenocheja and I'll be bringing you the headlines, the scandals and the creative surges happening and shaping the scene of art today. So let's get into it without wasting much of our time. So the first thing we'll be talking about is global sales slump and shifting buyers. So the art market currently is experiencing a decline in the purchase of art, and also the type of collectors that we're beginning to have right now are different. So there's a global slump in the art world and a shifting buyers in the art world. So let's start with the numbers because the market never lies. In 2024, high-end art sales, those multi-million-dollar pieces you hear about in headlines, fell sharply. I'm talking 45%. Examples of this art are the ones that I'll be putting on the screen right now. You can pause it so you can read through, but let's continue with the broader market impact. Top 100 artworks. Now, the top 100 artworks, because of time, I won't be able to put all of those top 100 artworks, but it dropped from $4.1 billion in 2022 to $2.4 billion in 2023. That's a massive decline. It's a serious decline, and all of this happened in 2023, between 2022 to 2023, and the trend to an extent still continues even down to 2024. Even giants like Warhol, Candy Sky, and Heist had works withdrawn or failed to meet expectations. At Phillips, ultra-contemporary $10 million works dropped by 39%, while mid-range remains steadier. But that's not the full story. On the flip side, works priced below $1 million only dipped by 12.5%. That's still a decline. Quite right, it's a decline, but a much softer compared to works priced above $10 million that dropped or that experienced a 42% decline. That's a massive fall. It tells us that the core of the market, where most collectors actually live, is most resilient than you'd expect. So this means that we have more collectors buying works less than $1 million than collectors buying works of, those high-end prices. Jeff Koons, all those people who are buying paintings of over 10 million, 100 million, 200 million, 30-something million. Those are outrageous prices, but those are the works that are declining over time, that have been declining since 2022, or even up until now, is still declining. And 42% is a big number, is a very, very big number compared to 12.5 by works under $1 million. Art Basel also reported a 12% global sale dip last year, yet interestingly, 38% of their buyers were new to collecting. That's a huge deal, for real, it is. The art world isn't dying, it's just evolving. And that's really, to so many artists who are out there who are afraid that works are no longer selling and they feel like the market is dying slowly. To me, I'm going to say to you right now that the market is not dying. It's only evolving. We're beginning to see new buyers enter the market. And you cannot expect people who are buying something for the very first time to just dive into the market and begin to buy works of those high-end works. It's very encouraging, especially for artists like myself, because, we get to hear people be like, artists no longer have future and all of that, but that's not the case. The number says it all. This isn't economics, it's psychology. Collectors are backing away from ultra-expensive bets. Instead, they're redirecting focus to mid-range art, emerging voices, and even prints and accessible investments. Who won't want to, in this time and age, even with the recession and everything that's going on, with global inflation and everything that's going on right now, people want to invest wisely. So people are reaching out to buy artworks of emerging artists, because to an extent, these works will be slightly cheaper, and in a way, it's a way to even encourage the newer artists, people who are coming into the market and just experiencing the market for the very first time. It's a way to encourage them, and this is a good sign for artists who are afraid that the market is no longer favorable. These figures aren't just numbers, they are structural signals. The top market is resetting, confidence is low, and new opportunities are emerging everywhere in the spectrum. The next thing happening on our list is millennial disruption, a new taste in the arts. Now here's where it gets interesting. Millennials and Gen Zs aren't collecting art the way their parents did. Okay, so I'm also new into the whole collecting thing, and I'm not really interested right now. I'm not really interested in collecting art because of investment or collecting art because I'm looking for it. In fact, right now I can't even afford a blue chip artist. So because of that, I'm investing in people, in my friends who I feel are underrepresented, and I'm investing in people that I feel that they need some monetary validation to make them feel that they are artists. So for me, in a way, buying art from emerging artists, from people like myself, or exchanging works with them is one way to support them in my own little way. And that's what millennials like myself and Gen Zs are doing right now. They are no longer interested in chasing after blue chip artists. They are looking for meaning, identity, and impact. We are seeing a sharp rise in demand for female surrealists whose works were overlooked for decades. Indigenous voices bring fresh narratives into global art. And 20th century designs, especially functional, sculptural works with character. And they are not just engaging through old routes. That's the beautiful part. There's nothing like wearing of suits and going to auction houses to be raising those placards or whatever, those bats, whatever they are called. Some of these guys are buying it on Instagram, on TikTok, on Etsy. Those platforms are where they are reaching out to. Sometimes some of them even reach out to the artist directly to establish a form of connection with the artist. Some of them reach out to the galleries of these artists, and they reach out to them and try to even form a connection with the gallery, and in a way try to connect with the artist as well. And this is actually a good thing, but well, not everybody will agree with this. But yeah, these are the mediums that these guys are using, these Gen Zs and millennials are using to buy this art right now. Now the takeaway for me is that the art world isn't just getting younger, it's getting deeper. People care more about the story behind the canvas than the name on the signature, which is what the high-end collectors are after, the name on the signature. Jeff Koons, Warhol. The next on our list is private sales are quietly booming. Behind the velvet curtains, a major shift is happening. Auction houses are leaning more into private sales, that is, confidential deals between collectors away from the public eye. In 2024, Christie's private sales rose by 41%, Sotheby's increased by 17%. Why does this matter? Because it shows that collectors are now prioritizing discretion, control, and reduced risks. And for sellers, private sales, meaning avoiding the pressure and unpredictability of the auction floor. There's a lot of pressure on that floor. And I believe that that's why sometimes these works, actually those ridiculous priced works, that's why they go that high, because of the amount of pressure there. It's easier to buy works or artworks privately because you can just reach out to whoever owns the work or whoever auction houses, whoever is in possession of that work. You can reach out to them privately and tell them, I'm interested in this work. And if somebody else is interested in that work as well, I'm sure they'll give you a reasonable price that you can just quietly pay for it and disappear, rather than bidding for those works, because it's in the process of bidding, because a lot is at stake when you're bidding. A lot is at stake. Your pride, your ego, everything is at stake. You want to show that you're the one who, the pressure is high. According to the Gen Zs over here, the pressure is getting worse. But anyways, private collecting or private purchases of artworks are beginning to boom, and we can see the numbers. And for me, the takeaway here is, in a world that's getting louder, the smartest moves are being made in silence. The next on our list is major collections hitting the auction block. September will be a moment in the art world. Pauline Capidas, the legendary European collector often called Europe's Peggy Guggenheim, is putting her surrealist collection on the market. 60 million worth of rare, 60 million pounds. Let me put the currency. 60 million pounds. How can owned by just one person? Are you kidding me? 60 million pounds worth of rare historic works are going under the hammer at Sotheby's, London. That's a lot of money invested into artworks, and all of this will be auctioned in one day at Sotheby's Sotheby's, London. This is the largest single owner sale in Europe this year, and it's already drawing global attention. But that's not all. Coming up at the same house, Tamara de Lampica's iconic 1927 painting, La Belle Raffaella. It's a bold, sensuous nude of her muse and lover, estimated between 6 million to 9 million pounds. Why is this significant? The sale shines a bright light on the rising appreciation for female modernists, especially those who created unapologetic, powerful imagery of women by women. The takeaway for me here is the market is not just about money, it's correcting its own past. Stories that were once ignored are finally being given value. One thing that I've noticed with the art world over time is sometimes I'm not saying, we know that art is art and every art is valuable, but there are some works that I don't believe that are worth those ridiculous prices. Take for instance, this particular artwork of a banana duct taped to a wall that sold for a ridiculous amount. And then we have other works that are significantly, when it comes to their level of significance, is high. But these works are not priced properly. And it's really, really annoying. But I'm happy that the market is currently, or at this moment, is correcting its own past mistakes. For me, I would say they were mistakes. And all of these stories that were ignored are now finally given value. And it's a good thing. Now imagine a love story built not on stillness, but on motion, fire, feminism, and chaos. That's the essence of Nikki the Saint's Fall and Jean Tenguayeli, one of the modern art's most electrifying duos. Their work defied every rule, blending kinetic sculpture, explosive performances, and unflinching exploration of the body, gender, and machine. This month, Hauser and Wade Somerset launched the UK's first ever major retrospective of their work as a couple. It's not just about looking at art, it's about hearing it, feeling it shift, break, and rebuild itself. St. Fowl's bold, often erotic feminist sculptures meet Tenguayeli's noisy, chaotic contraptions, some even self-destructing. The result, a visual conversation about love, gender, machinery, and rebellion, alive until February 2026. The key insight for me here is institutions are now embracing the personnel within the political. This isn't just a show, it's a blueprint of how love and art disrupt power. The next on my list is Cardiff's first contemporary art museum, Amoka. In a bold move to reshape Wales' cultural landscape, Cardiff is preparing to launch Amoka, the first dedicated contemporary art museum in the region. But they are not just waiting for the building to make a statement. Right now, a pop-up exhibition titled Black Voices is open to the public, spotlighting 34 artists from the African diaspora. It's powerful, it's raw, and it's free. So if you're around that space, you can just check in to see if there's something for you. And of course, it's an art show. There's always something for everyone. This isn't just about representation, it's about rewriting the map of who gets to be archived, celebrated, and centered in the national memory. That's amazing. The key insight for me is institutions aren't waiting to open their doors. They're expanding access now. The centralized, decolonized curating is taking root. The next on my list is London Design Biennale 2025 Surface Reflections. The London Design Biennale 2025 kicked off this week with the theme Surface Reflections, a phrase that might sound aesthetic but cuts deep. Over 40 countries are participating, bringing pavilions that interrogate how culture, environment, and technology reflect and distort our collective surface. Standouts include Japan's washi paper clouds, delicate yet immersive, a meditation on impermanence and craftsmanship. Malta's cremation sculpture, a stunning concept that turns ash into marble-like forms, blending mortality with memory. This isn't just decorative design, it's ritual, data, and storytelling merged. The key insight is that the line between art, design, and ritual is dissolving, and institutions are finally giving space to experimental, ephemeral work. The next on my list is Mumbai's group exhibition, Identity Meets Ecology. And over in Mumbai, a deep introspective group exhibition opens in June 13th, bringing together 9 artists whose practices confront one question: how does your environment shape your identity? The works range from personal memory to eco-anxiety, from indigenous environmental practices to post-colonial narratives of place. The power here is intersection, climate, culture, and the body all in one room. The key insight here is art is moving towards slow, intimate forms of resistance, not shouting but listening, not declaring but remembering. And one of the most exciting news on my list is Art Basel in Basel returns. Confidence amid chaos. All eyes are on Switzerland as the art world's most prestigious fair, Art Basel in Basel, gears up for its next edition, running from June 19th to 22nd. This is just next week. Despite global economic uncertainty and the cooling of high-end auction sales, market confidence remains strong. Organizers are bullish and they have reasons to be. Last year, 38% of buyers at Art Basel were completely new to the scene, a staggering statistics for a fair that once dominated by elite collectors and legacy buyers. That means almost 4 in 10 buyers were first-timers, signaling a massive generational and demographic shift. Very exciting. Now, what's catching their eyes, you may ask? Not just the Picassos or Warhols, but the emerging and ultra-contemporary voices, especially showcased in the premiere section, a curated space where the next wave of art stars get to break through. And here's another booster. Germany just slashed its VAT on art from 19% to 7%. A game-changing move. This could trigger a ripple effect across the European Union, making it easier for collectors to buy and for galleries to sell. This is one thing that has reduced over time, it has reduced the rate at which a lot of collectors were buying work. But this that the government of Germany has done, I believe would increase the interests or the rate at which people will be more interested in art in Germany. Now, the key insight for me is Art Basel isn't just surviving, it's transforming, and the message is clear. New buyers, new artists, and new policies are creating a fresh future for the global art market. If you want to know more about last year's highlight from the most expensive works that were sold at Art Basel in Basel, that's last year, 2024, you can click on the pop-up banner. But let's continue. Next on my list is chairs, the seats, Versailles, and a €4.5 million scandal. Now, from the glamour of Basel to the shadow of deception, France is currently shaken by one of the most scandalous crimes or art crimes in history. 2 well-known figures in the French antiques world, Bill Pallotte, a respected 18th century furniture expert, and Bruno Dewy, I hope that's how it's pronounced, a master restorer, have been convicted for orchestrating a €4.5 million forgery scheme involving fake Louis XV chairs. These weren't just sold to any collectors, they were placed in the Palace of Versailles. Pallotte and Dewy had painstakingly fabricated chairs that mimicked royal provenance and craftsmanship. The buyers, prestigious institutions and high-profile clients, but the crime unraveled, and it revealed a far bigger problem. Even today, the tech, AI, and global database art authenticity remains dangerously fragile. If you want to know more about this story, there's a link above, or click on the pop-up banner. You get to know more about the story. I made an entire video on this whole story. Forgery isn't just about skill, it's about knowledge, trust, and access. And when those three things are manipulated, even castles like Versailles can be fooled. And they were actually fooled. The key insight of this story is this scandal reminds us that no corner of the art world is immune, and it raises urgent questions. Who do we trust to tell us what's real? And what happens when even the experts betray the story? That's it on This Week in Art. I hope to see you next weekend when I'll be bringing you all that will be happening in the art world. My name is jhonsenocheja, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.